The Bible is filled with so many amazing stories. And this is one of them. So the story goes that there's a lot of excitement in the land of Egypt. The reason why there's a lot of excitement is because the children of Israel are finally free. They've gone through many plagues in Egypt, and finally the Pharaoh has agreed to let God's people go. So the children of Israel start making their way to the promised land, which is a place where God had promised them to live. So as they're making their way to the promised land, they've been freed by the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh says, "Psych! I will not let these people go." And guess what? He starts chasing the children of Israel. And as the children of Israel are walking in the desert, they are getting close to the Red Sea, and someone looks back and sees a cloud of dust. And he's like, "Oh, guys, look behind us. Pharaoh's army's behind us, and they're coming after us." And after all that they had seen in Egypt, the children of Israel get angry with Moses. They say, "Are you serious, man? Did you bring us out here to die? Was there no graves in Egypt? Was there no space? So now you're going to let us die in the desert? Really? I mean, in front of us, we have the sea, so we can't swim across there. Behind us, we're Pharaoh's army, and there's mountains both sides of us. What are we going to do?" And God says to Moses, he says, "Do not worry. I got you covered." And he tells Moses to stretch his hand with the staff over the sea. And as he does that, the most incredible thing happens. And it's mind-blowing, guys, because all of a sudden the water starts trembling, and the children are looking back there and they're looking forward, and the water starts to separate like this. And they're like, "That's the ground. That's the ground. We can walk across on the floor of the sea." And God separates the water, and there is dry land that the children can start walking on. And they start walking, and they're like, "This is awesome." And I can imagine as they're walking, someone is looking there, and they see a big whale just going next to them, or a big fish, or whatever it is. It must have been incredible. And they're walking across, and behind them, remember, Pharaoh's army is chasing them. I'm sure they're like, "Ooh, the water's split." But Pharaoh says, "Onwards we go." They are not gonna be free. So Pharaoh's army starts riding down their chariots through the ground of the ocean that God had separated. And as they're riding, they're excited. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna get them now." And then they just hear, and as they ride, maybe someone is riding, and a drop of water from the sea goes bloop. It's a whoop. Pharaoh, did you guys feel a drop of water? Pharaoh's like, "Ride, keep riding." And suddenly God allows the sea to get back together when the children of Israel have gone to the other side. And the Bible says Pharaoh and his army perish in the sea. And now the children of Israel are finally free. It's an amazing story, but the lessons are even more amazing, because what I get from this is that when things seem impossible, it's super impossible with God. Now, back then they didn't have any planes to fly across the ocean, or they didn't even have a boat. They didn't have a boat at the time to sail across. And the situation seemed impossible because there was no way they could have taken on Pharaoh's army. But when it's impossible with man, it's super possible with God. Now, it's a lesson that I learned and I found to be so amazing, and I hope that you have learned this lesson plus many more from this story. And I hope you have enjoyed the whole series of the story of Moses. For Bible Stories, this is Ted.